Pressley by mistake. I'm not Pressley by chance. I'm Pressley on purpose. Hey y'all, it's your girl Adyna K Pressley, and welcome to Pressley on Purpose. Listen, this is not one of those buttoned up CEO versions of me. This is the real me, the healed but still human me, the funny, round the way, big sister who done lived some-ish life me. Here we talk about the stuff I don't post. The moments that break you, the moments that build you, and the moments that make you say, yeah, I really know her. So every week, we're getting into purpose, reinvention, boundaries, healing, and choosing yourself loudly, boldly, and without apology. So get comfortable, get honest, and get ready because we're rising and we're rising on purpose. So today, we're going to talk about why I decided to do Pressley on purpose. And to be perfectly honest with you, I really had no intentions on doing a podcast. People always said to me, Adyna, you have a lot to offer. There's a lot of a lot of wisdom that you have. You should consider doing a podcast. And when I thought about it, I was like, okay, maybe I do have something to say. Maybe someone wants to hear what I have to say. But I had to do it on my own time, on my own terms. So here I am, Pressley on purpose. And I wanted to talk about the reinvention part of me because I wouldn't be here doing a podcast with you guys had it not been for what changed my life. And if you don't know my story, you're going to know it today. My life changed when I was laid off after 34 years in the financial sector. I was vice president of operations. And to be perfectly honest with you, I loved my job. The first 30 years of my career, I freaking loved it. But them last 4 years, woo, Nelly, that was a challenge for me. And it was a struggle. And even though I'm not a quitter, my mama ain't raised no punk, I went head on doing the job. Now, initially, let me go back real quick. I was excited when I got the promotion and I moved out of the regional offices and went into corporate. I was excited because the person that offered me the position was a well-respected leader. He was the chief marketing officer of the organization. So I was honored because he was well-respected. I always admired him and I always admired his leadership style. So for me, that was a no-brainer. So I get into the role. And then, of course, as things go, there was a lot of changes and stuff going on. And the new leadership, I guess he also felt it. He wasn't feeling the new leadership. He wasn't feeling the direction things was going in. So he retired. And when he retired, I was heartbroken. And you know what happens when things like that happen? There's a shift. There is a restructure. You inherit people that you necessarily would not have wanted to work for had you had the opportunity to make a decision and accept that offer. So that's what happened to me. I wind up getting inherited by someone who was just straight up a-hole. I'm going to be nice and I'm not going to cuss in my in my podcast because I'm going to be my real authentic self, but not all the way. But you know where I'm going with it. And when that happened, those last couple of years before I got laid off, I was over it. And for those of you that don't know, let me just preface by saying this. I was on Oprah's podcast a few months ago. And I was on her podcast because she had an episode that said, "Are you a woman and have you ever been fired?" And I happened to be laying in bed because I couldn't sleep. And I was like, you know what? Let me get on my phone and see what's going on. So I'm scrolling and and I see this post and I thought about it and I'm like, okay, yeah, I am a woman. And yeah, technically I was fired. So I wrote in and I wrote in from my heart, from my gut, from my real raw feelings that I felt when I saw that post. And even though I had mentioned that I wasn't angry, I just was angry with the way things went down because I'm not a quitter. My mama ain't raised no punk. So for me, when I was going through that period of time, I felt like I needed to get out. I felt like if I wanted to maintain my sanity and my freedom, it was time for me to get out. So I was already thinking about leaving. I was already looking at what it would look like for me to retire, which I ultimately wound up making my decision to retire this year. It just so happens they beat me to it and laid me off beforehand. But I wasn't mad at that because one, I got a package, so I wasn't mad. And so it's like, okay, so I just got paid to be on vacation for a little bit before I start my retirement. So that was one. And two, I I already had in my mind, and it's so funny. It's funny when you put something out in the universe. Manifestation is real. When you put something out in the universe, and I have put out in the universe, if there was a round and I was given the opportunity, if they offered for me to take a package, buy out, and leave, I would take it. So it just so happens, okay, granted, they didn't ask me, they told me, but that was the best thing that could have happened to me because I was over it. Like I said, if I wanted to maintain my sanity and my freedom, I knew I had to leave. So back to the Oprah thing. So when I got the opportunity to get on the show after writing in, which was a major surprise to me because I figured, okay, how many women is going to write in and going to say that they've been fired? Probably millions. And who's going to want to hear my little old story? Little old me. Who wants to hear little old me? Who wants to hear my story? But lo and behold, I got a call the next day. And when I got the message, I happened to be at my doctor's office and I'm looking through my phone and I see the message. I just break down crying. I was so excited because I couldn't believe that even if I got nowhere else with my story, just the fact that it caught their attention, her producer's attention, was huge to me. Long story short, I had my first meeting. It went amazing. She said, okay, I'm going to, introduce you to my producer. She would ultimately make the decision. I had that meeting, aced it. Like I said, I'm me. What you see is what you get. And that interview is what I gave them, the real, raw, authentic me. That went amazing. And then a couple of days later, she told me, she said, okay, I'll let you know by Friday. No, she said, I'll let you know by Monday what our decision is. And they actually wound up calling me that Friday. So I was amazed. And when they called me, it was like, can you be available? And initially, I was already planning to fly to Atlanta the day that they wanted me available. So I quickly changed my plans. But I say that to say that ever since that happened to me, my life has done a 360. It has been amazing because the day that I got that call, and I mentioned this in that interview, when I closed my laptop, it was like a ton of bricks lifted up off of my chest. And I said to myself, I'll never want to work for anybody else ever again. And that's a beautiful blessing to be able to say, to be able to be afforded to say, I don't ever want to work for anybody else again. And I meant that. I was like, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to travel. And everybody that really knows me knows I travel a lot anyway. So even when I was working, I still was traveling. But I was like, okay, I'm going to take this time and really go see the world. And of course, after, I don't know, a couple of months and then going on a girls trip and talking with some pretty amazing women who just encouraged me to maybe consider doing my own thing based on my experiences and my knowledge and the information that I was given to them, how I was kicking it with them when we were on the trip, made me say, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. And the crazy thing was the initial plan was to start the business and take it from there. But as I pulled myself, putting my business plan together, because what I wound up doing was taking a solo trip. And I took a solo trip to Niagara Falls. I got on the Amtrak, which I've never been on Amtrak ever in my life. And I took that 9-hour trip to Niagara Falls, which was absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. I highly recommend it if you have the opportunity. And I took that time to figure out what my next steps was going to be, like what my plan was going to be. And initially it was to come up with my business plan. And I wound up reflecting. And as I was reflecting, I was like, this could be a book. And everybody that knows me knows that I have a short attention span. So writing a book was not on my bingo card. But I will say this, it was the most therapeutic thing I could have done because I wrote about my story, but I wrote it from a place of healing. I didn't write it like, oh, I didn't know my father or I grew up in drugs. I didn't write it from that perspective, even though that was the environment that I grew up in. I wrote it from a place of healing, the different challenges and issues that I faced throughout my life, career, love, marriage, motherhood, caregiving. I wrote it from that perspective because, to be perfectly honest with you, I would not be in the space that I am in right now, this peaceful place that I'm in right now, had I not gone through those experiences. So I was actually glad that I did write the book because, again, it put everything in perspective for me to say, okay, now this is the direction I want to go with regards to how I want to run my business. So I say that to say that was the best thing that could have happened to me because one, I wouldn't have started my own business, which is AKP Innovations. Two, I wouldn't have written my book, which my award-winning book, which is called Rise into Your Reclaiming Power, Love, Life, and Legacy. Three, I wouldn't have started my own streetwear brand, which is called Queens Royale. And the reason why I did Queens Royale is because it represented my borough. I'm a New York girl all day, every day. I'm a Queens girl all day, every day. And I felt like I wanted to build a brand that represented my borough. And then also, too, it wound up becoming a thing because when COVID hit, everybody was working from home. Everyone was remote. Everybody was virtual. And I was so used to wearing suits in corporate America. So to be able to work from home and just wear sweats and a sweatshirt and a hoodie and spandex and sweatpants, I loved it. And then, of course, even though the world wound up opening back up, I still worked remote and on a semi hybrid basis. That just became my attire. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to wear this, then I might as well be cute. So that's where that came from. And then again, just having the opportunity to explore and do things on my own terms, going and traveling and meeting people and networking with people, doing this because I love it, doing this because it's for me, doing this because it is encouraging and inspiring others. So I have not been this happy in the last 4 years career wise since now. Well, let me say 5 years because I've already been going out of the workforce for a year. In 2025, over 300,000 Black women lost their jobs due to DEI rollback. And, the environment that we're in today, the political environment that we're in today. And just so you know, I'm not a political person, but I did want to throw that in there. That's why the work that I'm doing is so important to me because one, they messed up when they decided they want to get rid of us Black women because you didn't get rid of us because we weren't qualified. In most cases, we were overqualified. In my personal opinion, a lot of us are not going back to work. A lot of us are starting our own businesses and becoming entrepreneurs. And that is one of the things they should have thought about when they called themselves holding us back because we're a force to be reckoned with. And I'm so excited to see where this goes for all of my sisters out there who's doing it on their own. And then for my sisters who's still out there and in corporate, I'm here to do the work that provides them with the mentorship and the knowledge and the leadership and everything that they need to support them in their roles. That's what I'm here for. That is my purpose. That is my calling. And it's so crazy because I always used to say to myself, what is my purpose? I used to be like, I can't sing, can't dance. So I always should be like, what is my purpose? And to be honest with you, after taking care of two of my aunts who wound up living with me and and eventually wound up passing away while I was caring for them, one of the things that I realized was I've been living in my purpose the whole time. My purpose has always been service. And I didn't realize it. I've been servicing in my career as a mother, as a friend, as a caregiver. I've been living in my purpose, serving my whole life. And when I realized that, now the way that I look at everything really changed. It really, really changed because I'm like, okay, now I know I am doing what I am called to do. And that is truly, truly, truly a blessing. And I am so, so thankful. So I tell people all the time, I ain't mad. And to be honest with you, anything that goes on in my life, there's one or two ways that you could take it. You can get mad or you can get better. And what I decide to do, I get better. I see everything from a positive perspective, even when it's not. And I always say to myself, I'm like, there is a reason, there is a purpose for why I'm going through what I'm going through. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to use it to my advantage. And I encourage anybody who is going through something right now, that's the way you should look at whatever it is that you're going through. Because again, everything has a purpose. And I believe that you're given certain challenges to prepare you for what's next, for what's big, for what blessings are coming your way. So I'm not here to preach. but I believe that wholeheartedly. And I think that's the reason why, like I said, I was able to write my book from a place of healing, because I looked at every single thing that I've gone through. And let me tell you something, I've been through some things. Oh, I've been through some things. And eventually, as time goes on and you get to know me, I'll be telling all those different stories. I say that to say, stay encouraged, stay encouraged, stay encouraged, because whatever it is that you're going through, it's going to get better. Trust me when I tell you. I always say, people look at me and they think like, oh, everything with her is together. She got it good. She ain't been through nothing. They have no idea all the things that I've been through. But because I don't take those things and I don't let it define me, I don't let it hold me back. That's the reason why I can keep on pushing forward. And I can tell you that it's going to get better, that there's a purpose. So I think I chatted enough. But again, I just wanted to come on here and just to tell you that Pressley on Purpose is me. It's what you see, it's what you get. It's your girl, it's your sister girl, it's your friend, it's your mama if you're a young girl, it's your daughter if you're older. I'm always somebody auntie, and I'm the fly auntie. They call me the rich auntie, and I'll take that. I'll accept that. But I'm here to give that level of conversation, interaction with my Pressley on Purpose crew, just so that you have someone that relates to you. Because again, I'm a chick from the hood that just happened to see better and wanted better, and was able to get to the place where I am. But one thing about me, I don't never change. What you see is what you get. And even when I was in corporate, and like I said, I started out from entry level before I was promoted to vice president. And even then, I never changed who I was. I was still the same girl who spoke to everybody in the mailroom. I was still the same girl who knew everybody in the cafeteria. I was still the same girl who spoke to everybody in the maintenance. I was still the same girl who spoke to the security guards when I walked in the building. And the reason why is because you never know who you're going to need in your life. And let me tell you something. Everybody always used to say to me, oh, she gets all the favors. Everybody does everything for her. Yeah, because I'm nice to them. It don't cost nothing to be nice. It does not cost nothing to respect somebody. And that's who I've always been. So like I said, what you see is what you get. I try to always stay in a good, high vibrational space. Don't get me wrong. I am human. I have my moments. People do try to get under my skin and get on my nerves. But again, I know how to manage that because I'm in such a good place of peace that I know how to manage that. So that is today's episode on Pressley on Purpose. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back. And if something resonated with you, please let your girl know. If there's anything that you want to talk about, anything that you want me to talk about, please let me know. And also, too, please subscribe. All right? 1.